Presentation skills. Friends, now let us deep dive into this important component of a communication skill called the presentation skill. Presenting information clearly and effectively is a key skill in getting your message across. Friends, today presentation skills are required in almost every field and especially in the sales domain. You'll be present better if you have prepared properly. Friends, because remember today people have a very short attention span and they don't have much patience as well. So you need to have a presentation skill where in a less amount of time you're able to send across the message with that punch and also with that effectiveness. For this, of course, preparation is important and you need to be clear about your prospect and customer, and your message has to be so clear, cut to them, that you within a short time, with your accuracy, brevity and clarity, you're able to send across the message. Remember, you must never overrun your allotted time, especially when you are being given a chance to speak in a public platform, in a program. You have to start in time, end in time. That's what is very, very essential in terms of maintaining the integrity of the space. Your prospect and customer starts on your side and he has chosen you to listen to you and wants to enjoy your presentation. That's why, friends, very, very important is when you are starting a presentation, never start apologetically. Never say that, okay, you are junior to present in front of the senior people, or you're not that very well prepared, or you didn't have the time and all those things. Don't depreciate yourself. Don't devalue yourself by making any non-consequential apologetic statement in the beginning. The very fact that they have called you and you are there, go with that energy and certainty to ensure that you are able to give the best value to the people who are listening. Remember, you are in charge of the room, so you have to set those rules and ensure that you are able to enforce that rules in a very, very dynamic manner. How you present yourself can also affect how your prospect or the customer responds to your presentation, meet his expectation. Friends, ultimately you have to ensure that your enthusiasm, your conviction, your expertise, that qualities have to go across to the prospect, and he should feel a change of his state. You should feel more energetic, more enthusiastic after listening to your presentation. It's also a transfer of your energy. That's very important to ensure that you are throughout the presentation highly energetic, highly focused on what you're doing, highly intentional to make a difference. And you should also be capable of handling any questions and ensure that you go so very well prepared that you are able to handle any questions which is asked by them in an appropriate manner to convince them. So then I would like to take you into the further elements of good presentation, and by understanding each of them, I promise you that if you continuously keep on practicing them as well, you'll be able to make your presentation skill to the next level. These various elements are: first is clarity, second one is vocal variation, third one is your eye contact, fourth one is your gestures, fifth is your confidence, next one is the interest that you are able to maintain on your audience, seventh is the engagement level, and of course last but not the least is the topic or the subject matter which you are speaking on. So friends, each of them has to be understood, and you need to ensure that and check yourself, audit yourself both before and after the presentation as to how well did you do in each of these dimensions. First one is clarity. You have to ensure that your language is clear and easily understood, and every time you're giving a presentation you have to ensure that you are always understood, because here, as I said, it is not about what you speak, it's about what the other person understands. That is more important. Only then the communication is complete, when what you wanted to convey and what the person understood is the same, and that will happen when your clarity element is very high. So ensure that you are very clear in your communication. Second one is use the vocal variety. Here you have to use all these three components: tone, speed and volume to perfection. Start the session with a little high voice, and in between use pauses, You can use your high pitch, low pitch, and sometimes you can speak fast, sometimes you can speak very, very slowly to ensure that the right points are delivered and reaches the audience with that same amount of impact that you want them to be. Third is eye contact, very important. Use eye contacts to convey emotions. Elicit response using the eye contact. Gauge the prospect's customer's reaction and response, again by using that you are able to be present to all the people who are in front of you. Right from the back to the front, left to the right, your eye has to move continuously, not being focused only on one or few people or only one side. And you're using the eye contact, you can keep them engaged, because the way you move around your eyes will ensure that that area of the audiences are riveted to you, and thereby you're able to engage them totally. Fourth one is gestures. Friends, the head gesture, the hand gestures are very important. They have to be fully integrated with the physical gestures with content, very important. When the content which you are talking about, the words, the sentences which you are saying, and your physical gesture has to match. And use gestures as a tool to deliver your speeches exemplarily with a lot of punch and commitment. So use gestures, very, very important, because remember, people are observing every movement of your body, and ensure that unnecessary movement of your body is not there, which can be distracting. Like keeping your hand on your pockets and juggling something. These are all something which has to be consciously avoided. Don't do unnecessary gestures as well, because every gesture is going to draw the attention of your audience towards that gesture. So be selective, but be impactful, and use it at the right time with the right content, right words, right sentences, to ensure that you are able to use this important component of a body language effectively. The next is the confidence level. You need to have pure self-assured, at ease and comfortable. There should not be an element of tension or anxiety, or you should not look troubled. It is bound to have a little bit of the initial level of your talk. There may be a certain level of tension, but that stress can be converted to eustress, and you can make that adrenaline which pumps in to be used for making that forceful start and the ease of presentation. So you need to, throughout the presentation, have self-assurance, ease and comfort, and this confidence will come when you are prepared well and you have taken cognizance of your earlier successes, and you constantly keep on remembering only those success incidents, and when you keep on practicing, you would be able to increase your confidence level. It is always said, only way of getting the confidence is to keep on giving as many presentations as possible in front of the public, and to practice and rehearse during the practice sessions, and this automatically will get your confidence level to the next level. Next one is interest. Fully engage the prospects and customer with exemplary, highly compelling, well-constructed, interesting content. Friends, you need to ensure that the content which you are developed, the various structures with which you are sending across the message, the way you have structured your entire talk, should be kept interesting. And it is all in your hands, that you research, you come with the proper facts and figures, and you are able to give them at the appropriate time to keep the engagement level high. And it has to be always, the content also has to be something new and well researched, so that people go back with some new nuances of knowledges, which is very, very critical. The next one, which is very important for a presentation skill, is engagement level. You have to ensure that because of your energy and certainty which you bring to your presentation, the connection is immediate, sustained, and overwhelmingly positive. You have to in between ask them questions, in between ask for a recap, in between ask them to have some physical movements, ask them to raise your hands, do some clapping, and these are all some of the ways by which you are able to keep your audience in a peak state. But remember, we all have got physical, mental, emotional and spiritual state, and all of them are interconnected. So what you need to do is, sometimes you have to make them change their physiology by making them stand up, sit down, raise your hands, or you do some clapping or do a high-fiving. All these are engagement routines. Sometimes by asking questions, you are changing their mental state, and ask them for responses. Ask them for sharing. This again all leads to higher level of engagement. So sometimes you can stop and ask them to ask you questions. So even that can be a way of increasing the engagement. But friends, remember that throughout the presentation, you are keeping the engagement level at a high level. But unfortunately today, the attention span of human beings, which earlier itself was around 15 to 16 seconds, has come down to 8 seconds. So it is quite possible that your audience will be distracted because of the low attention span. In this case, what you need to do is grab their attention by throwing some new information, by changing their state, physiology, or by asking questions, and thereby keep the entire engagement with the audience at a high level. Next one, of course, is the topic, my friend, or the subject matter of the speech which you are presenting. You need to keep it highly inspiring, and there's just an excellent choice of a topic, and use the topic to inspire him. The subject matter has to be always something which is inspirational, something where you are able to add value, give more for less, and keeping it very riveting and very engaging and very topical and laced with recent information research automatically makes the entire presentation very, very useful. So friends, as you can see, presentation skill is a composite amalgamation of all these different elements which we have seen right now here, and each of these elements is learnable. Each of the elements are possible for you to keep on working on that. So we'll again go through the entire, all the aspects of the elements: clarity, vocal variation, eye contact, gestures, confidence, interest, engagement, and the subject matter or the topic. So if you can keep all of them in mind and continuously keep on auditing yourself and take yourself to the next level, you'll be able to make your presentation very effective. But one more important aspect I wanted to share with all of you is there are some presentation impediments or barriers which normally stops people from making their presentation effective. These are all something which has happened consciously, unconsciously. These impediments or barriers or irritants have seeped into your talking or speaking or presenting, like the word like ooh, So this has got developed because nobody has told you. So they can be irritants, like usage of word like but, so, okay. So people tend to use these words unconsciously in between sentences, and these are all presentation impediments which has a huge impact on reducing the impact of a presentation. Like you may use words like you know, I see, and sometimes you take a long pause, which can be quite distracting. So you should be conscious about which of them you are using and consciously eliminate them, plug them out from your presentation. And if you are aware, as we know, awareness is the first step towards transformation, you will be able to reduce these impediments which has come out of the old conditioning and practice. And once you eliminate them and keep all these points in mind, I can promise you, your presentation will have that punch and you will be very effective in convincing your prospects to give you more orders and thereby consummate more business and take you towards more prosperity. And the point to be remembered is the various elements and the nuances and dimension of the presentation skill format which we have learned is useful for your one-to-one presentation, one-to-many presentation, be it in the B2C format, B2B format, or while selling to institutions or the government bodies. So by sharpening, by learning these elements, you are preparing yourself for all the situations wherever you are made to give an effective presentation. Keep this in mind, and according to that, work on mastering these elements by constant practice.